The sky above New York burned with alien fire. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Luna Station, watching humanity's finest warships explode like dying stars against Earth's blue atmosphere. Each flash of light represented hundreds of lives lost, another piece of humanity's hope vanishing into the cold vacuum of space. The invasion had begun 3 days ago. 2 massive alien fleets had emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, their ships dark as midnight and bristling with weapons that made Earth's technology look like stone tools. The Hegemony fleet arrived first, their vessels sleek and predatory, followed hours later by the Republic Alliance with their bulky, industrial-looking warships. Neither fleet had come to save humanity. They had come to fight each other, and Earth was their chosen battlefield. Admiral Chen had received the translated communications between the 2 forces. The Hegemony claimed Earth belonged to their expanding empire. The Republic Alliance insisted the planet fell within their sphere of protection. Both were wrong, but Earth's defenses were too weak to tell them so. The Earth Defense Force had thrown everything at the invaders. Every ship, every weapon, every brave soul willing to stand between humanity and extinction. Captain Rodriguez had led the first wave in his destroyer Valiant, only to watch his entire squadron wiped out by a single Hegemony cruiser. The alien ship had barely slowed down. Dr. Elena Vasquez rushed into the command center, her tablet clutched tightly in her hands. Her dark hair was messy from running, and her lab coat showed burn marks from the latest attack on the research stations. She had been working without sleep for 72 hours straight, trying to find some weakness in the alien technology. Admiral Chen turned from the window as explosions lit up the darkness outside. The latest battle was happening directly above Earth's North America. Burning debris from destroyed ships fell like meteors through the atmosphere, leaving bright trails across the night sky. "Admiral, we have lost contact with Sector 7, reported Lieutenant Morrison, his young face pale with exhaustion. "The Beijing defense platform went dark 20 minutes ago. Estimated casualties are in the thousands." Chen nodded grimly. She had expected this news, but it still hit her like a physical blow. The Beijing platform had been one of their strongest defensive positions, armed with the most advanced weapons humanity could build. If it could not survive, what chance did any of them have? The Hegemony and Republic Alliance fleets continued their deadly dance around Earth, using the planet's gravity well to gain advantages over each other. Neither side seemed to care about the billions of humans caught in the middle. Stray shots from their massive weapons had already destroyed 3 orbital cities and damaged the lunar colonies. "Dr. Vasquez," Admiral Chen called out, "what is the status of your analysis? Have you found anything we can use against them?" Elena looked up from her tablet, her brown eyes tired but determined. "Admiral, their technology is at least 50 years ahead of ours. Their shields can absorb our most powerful weapons without even flickering. Their hull materials are stronger than anything we can produce, and their energy output suggests power sources we do not understand." The observation deck shook as another shockwave reached Luna Station. Through the reinforced windows they could see a Republic Alliance dreadnought exchanging fire with 2 Hegemony cruisers. The alien weapons created beautiful but terrifying light shows as they tore through space and metal with equal ease. President Martinez appeared on the main communication screen, her face showing the strain of 3 days without sleep. Behind her, the emergency bunker in Colorado buzzed with activity as staff members tried to coordinate Earth's failing defenses. "Admiral Chen," the president said, her voice heavy with the weight of impossible decisions, "the Joint Chiefs are recommending surrender. We have lost 60% of our fleet. Our orbital defenses are gone. The aliens are not even targeting us specifically, but we are dying anyway." Admiral Chen stared at the president's image for a long moment. Around her, the command center fell silent except for the quiet beeping of computers and the distant rumble of explosions. Every person in the room knew what surrender meant. Humanity would become slaves to whichever alien faction proved stronger. "Madam President," Chen replied slowly, choosing her words carefully, "I understand the Joint Chiefs' position. However, I request 12 more hours before we make that decision. There may be options we have not yet explored." The president frowned. "Admiral, what options?" "Our scientists tell us we cannot match their technology. Our military leaders say we cannot win a direct fight. What are you not telling me?" Chen glanced at Dr. Vasquez, who gave an almost invisible nod. They had worked together for 15 years, and Elena understood what the admiral was thinking. Sometimes the most desperate situations required the most dangerous gambles. Madam President, I am asking for time to confirm some intelligence we have been developing. If I am wrong, we will surrender as planned. If I am right, humanity may have a fighting chance after all. The President studied Admiral Chen's face through the screen. After 30 years in politics, she had learned to read people carefully. What she saw in Chen's eyes was not false hope or desperate denial. She saw the look of someone who knew a secret that could change everything. 12 hours, Admiral. But if this mysterious option fails, we announce our surrender. I will not watch humanity burn for pride. The communication ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Lieutenant Morrison looked confused, while other staff members exchanged worried glances. Dr. Vasquez moved closer to Admiral Chen, lowering her voice so only the Admiral could hear. Sarah, are you sure about this? If we activate the Shadow Protocol now, there will be no going back. Every secret we have kept for a century will be revealed. Admiral Chen watched another human ship explode in the distance, its crew of 300 dying in seconds. She thought about her daughter, safely hidden in the underground cities, and about the billions of other children who would never see the stars if humanity failed here. Elena, we always knew this day would come. Our ancestors started preparing for this moment before either of us was born. They sacrificed everything to give us this chance. We cannot waste their gift. Dr. Vasquez nodded slowly, then pulled out a small device that looked like an ordinary tablet. She pressed her thumb against the scanner, and the screen came alive with symbols and codes that meant nothing to anyone else in the room. The Shadow Protocol had been activated only once before, during a drill that most people believed was just a computer simulation. Initiating deep space communication protocols, Elena said, her fingers dancing across the tablet's surface. Signal encryption at maximum levels. Broadcasting on all reserved frequencies. Admiral Chen moved to her command chair and activated her personal communication system. The next few hours would determine whether humanity had a future or would become a footnote in galactic history. She began typing a message that had been written and rewritten thousands of times over the past century, waiting for this exact moment. All Shadow Fleet commanders, this is Admiral Chen. Authentication code Alpha 779 Delta. Operation Emergence is now active. Repeat, Operation Emergence is now active. Await further orders. She sent the message and leaned back in her chair, watching the alien fleets tear each other apart above Earth's surface. In approximately 10 hours, both the Hegemony and Republic Alliance would discover that they had made a terrible mistake. They had assumed Earth was defended by a primitive species with weak technology and no understanding of galactic politics. They were about to learn the truth about humanity's greatest deception. Captain Marcus Rodriguez had been dead for 3 years, at least according to official records. His funeral had been attended by hundreds of people, including his own family. His wife Maria had grieved for months, not knowing that her husband was actually living in a secret facility 3 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean. The Trident Deep Base was one of 12 hidden installations around the world, each one containing pieces of humanity's most carefully guarded secret. Marcus walked through corridors that stretched for miles underwater, past laboratories where scientists worked on technology that officially did not exist. Captain Rodriguez to the command center. The announcement echoed through the base. Marcus quickened his pace, knowing that the call he had been expecting for 15 years had finally come. The Shadow Protocol was active, which meant Earth was in mortal danger and their long period of hiding was about to end. The command center was a vast chamber carved from solid rock, filled with screens and control stations that would have amazed any surface dweller. The technology here was decades ahead of anything the public knew about, combining human engineering with secrets learned from careful study of alien visitors. Commander Lisa Park turned as Marcus entered. Her expression was serious but not surprised. Like everyone in the Shadow Fleet, she had been preparing for this moment since joining the program. The training never ended, the simulations never stopped, because they all knew that when the call came there would be no second chances. Captain, Admiral Chen has activated Operation Emergence. The alien fleets are tearing each other apart above our heads and Earth's official defenses are failing exactly as we predicted they would. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity has really been doing for the past century. Marcus nodded and moved to his command station. Around him, Hundreds of technicians began the process of awakening systems that had been sleeping for years. The Shadow Fleet was not just ships hidden in secret bases. It was an entire parallel civilization that had been developing in complete secrecy since the 1920s. The story began in 1926, when a strange object crashed in the Siberian wilderness. Soviet scientists discovered technology so advanced that they could barely understand how to turn it on. Word of the discovery eventually reached other governments, and a secret international agreement was signed in 1934. The Prometheus Accord established a hidden organization dedicated to studying alien technology and preparing for the day when Earth would face visitors from the stars. Every major nation contributed resources and people to the project, but their involvement was never recorded in any official documents. Over the decades, more alien artifacts were discovered. A crashed scout ship in the Amazon rainforest in 1951. Wreckage from an ancient battle found on the far side of the moon in 1969. Each discovery provided new pieces of the puzzle, and human scientists slowly learned to combine alien technology with their own innovations. Dr. Elena Vasquez had been part of the Shadow Project since her graduation from MIT in 1998. Her official career as a researcher was real, but it was only half of her life. Her true work involved reverse engineering alien computer systems and energy sources that defied every known law of physics. The breakthrough came in 2003, when Elena's team successfully activated an alien power core that had been dormant for decades. The device produced more energy than a nuclear reactor, but generated no radiation and required no fuel. Within 5 years, similar power cores were secretly providing electricity to every Shadow Fleet facility. But the most important discovery had been made just 10 years earlier. In 2015, deep-sea exploration robots had found something impossible on the ocean floor near Hawaii. Ancient structures that were clearly artificial but far older than human civilization. The structures formed a network of what could only be described as hyperspace relays. Professor James Wright, the team's lead archaeologist, had spent years studying the relays before reaching an incredible conclusion. Earth was not just another planet in the galaxy. It was a hub, a central location in an ancient transportation network built by a species that had vanished millions of years ago. The relays were still functional, though they required specific activation codes to operate. Elena's team had spent 5 years learning to interface with the alien systems. By 2020, they could use the network to send small probes to distant star systems in minutes rather than years. Marcus watched the main display as it showed the true scope of humanity's preparations. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt were coming online, their stealth systems deactivating for the first time in decades. Massive ships that had been disguised as asteroids were revealing themselves, their hulls gleaming with hybrid human-alien technology. The Shadow Fleet consisted of more than 8,000 vessels, ranging from small scout ships to dreadnoughts larger than anything in Earth's official navy. Every ship was powered by alien energy cores and protected by shields that could absorb incredible amounts of damage. Their weapons combined human innovation with alien physics to create destructive power beyond imagination. Captain Rodriguez, "Your ship is ready for launch," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the engineering station. "The Defiance has been fully charged and all systems are operating within normal parameters. Estimated time to battle readiness is 45 minutes. The Defiance was Marcus's flagship, a hybrid cruiser that combined the best of human and alien engineering. Its hull was made from materials that could self-repair minor damage, and its weapons could adjust their frequency to penetrate any known type of shield." The ship had been his home for 3 years, even though he could never tell anyone it existed. "Commander Park, what is the status of the other fleets?" Marcus asked as he reviewed the tactical displays. The information was overwhelming, showing the positions of Shadow Fleet vessels throughout the solar system and beyond. "All 12 battle groups are reporting ready status, Captain. The Atlantic Fleet is emerging from their underwater bases as we speak. The Luna Fleet is dropping their asteroid camouflage. The Mars colonies are activating their hidden shipyards. We have vessels positioned throughout the system and ready to strike at multiple targets simultaneously." The scale of the deception was staggering. For nearly a century, humanity had maintained the illusion of being a primitive species, while secretly building the most advanced fleet in known space. Every diplomatic contact with alien visitors had been carefully planned to gather intelligence. While appearing weak and helpless, the few aliens who had visited Earth over the decades had been allowed to see only what humanity wanted them to see. They reported back to their governments that Earth was inhabited by a young species with limited technology and no understanding of galactic politics. None of them suspected that their own technology was being studied and improved upon in hidden laboratories around the world. Marcus thought about his wife and children, still believing he was dead, still grieving for a man who was about to save their world. When this was over, he would have to explain everything to them. The lies, the deception, the years of pretending to be someone he was not. He hoped they would understand that it had all been necessary. "Captain, we are receiving new orders from Admiral Chen," Commander Park announced. "All Shadow Fleet vessels are to prepare for simultaneous activation. The Hegemony and Republic Alliance fleets are fully committed to their battle around Earth. They have no reserves held back, which means this is our only chance to catch them completely by surprise." Marcus stood and moved to the main command station. Through the reinforced windows of the underwater base, he could see the massive bulk of the Defiance floating in the hidden harbor. The ship was beautiful and terrible, a combination of human determination and alien science that represented everything his species could become. "All stations, prepare for emergency ascent. We are going to the surface, and then we are going to show the galaxy that humanity is not the weak species they believed us to be. Today, Earth stops being a victim and becomes a power that shapes the future of galactic civilization." The base shook as massive doors began opening in the ocean floor above them. Water rushed through carefully designed channels as the Shadow Fleet prepared to emerge from decades of hiding. In 1 hour, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift forever, and 2 alien empires would discover that they had made the worst mistake in their civilization's histories. They had chosen to fight their war above the homeworld of humanity's secret fleet. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Representatives from a dozen different species filled the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, their voices raised in panic as reports flooded in from across known space. The humans, dismissed for decades as a primitive border species, had simultaneously attacked both the Hegemony and Republic Alliance in their home systems. Ambassador Krell of the Zephyrian Federation slammed his 4 arms against his desk, demanding attention from the chaotic assembly. His people had been the first to encounter human diplomats 50 years ago, and he had always suspected there was more to the species than they revealed. "Order. We must have order," Krell shouted above the noise. "The humans have just demonstrated military capability that exceeds our most advanced civilizations. This is not the time for panic. This is the time for careful thought and measured response." Captain Marcus Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defiance as his ship led a small task, forced through hyperspace toward the Hegemony, industrial world of Corvin Prime. The ancient relay network allowed his ships to travel distances that should have taken months in just hours. Around him, his crew worked with the efficiency of people who had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Captain, we are approaching the target system," reported his navigation officer. "Sensors detect a large defensive fleet, but they appear to be completely unprepared for our arrival. The Hegemony command structure is focused on the battle at Earth and has not yet realized we can strike anywhere in their territory." Marcus studied the tactical display with satisfaction. The human strategy was working perfectly. By engaging both alien fleets simultaneously at Earth, they had drawn the attention and resources of both empires to a single location. Meanwhile, Shadow Fleet strike teams were hitting critical targets throughout alien space with no resistance. "Begin target analysis. I want precise strikes on military installations only. No civilian casualties, no unnecessary destruction. We are here to send a message, not to commit genocide. Humanity is announcing its presence, not starting a war of extermination." This was the crucial difference between human tactics and traditional alien warfare. The Hegemony and Republic Alliance had expected humans to fight like every other species they knew. But humanity had spent decades studying galactic politics and had learned from the mistakes of others. Dr. Elena Vasquez monitored the global operation from her command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. Her screen showed the locations of every Shadow Fleet vessel as they struck targets across the galaxy. Each attack was carefully planned to demonstrate power, without creating unnecessary enemies. Elena, what is the status of the diplomatic packages? Asked Admiral Chen through the secure communication link. The diplomatic packages were perhaps the most important part of the entire operation, more crucial than any military victory. All packages delivered successfully, Admiral. Every major government in the galaxy now has complete documentation of our capabilities, our history, and our intentions. They know we could have launched surprise attacks that would have crippled their fleets permanently. They also know we chose not to do so. The diplomatic packages contain the full story of humanity's century-long preparation. Technical specifications that proved human technology was superior to anything currently known. Historical records showing that Earth had been visited by representatives of every major government, and that humans had carefully studied each visitor without revealing their true capabilities. Most importantly, the packages contained humanity's proposal for a new galactic order, not conquest or domination, but partnership based on mutual respect and shared knowledge. Earth would share its advanced technology in exchange for recognition as an equal partner in galactic civilization. The human approach to galactic politics was revolutionary. Instead of demanding territory or resources, they offered to solve problems that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Their technology could end energy shortages, improve communication across vast distances, and provide defenses against external threats. Captain Rodriguez watched as his weapons disabled the orbital defense platforms around Corvin Prime with surgical precision. Each shot was calculated to destroy military capability without causing civilian casualties. The hegemony defenders could only watch in amazement as their most advanced defenses were neutralized by technology they did not understand. Captain, we are receiving communications from the planetary government. They are requesting immediate ceasefire and asking for terms of surrender, reported his communications officer. Inform them that we are not here to accept surrender. We are here to deliver a message. Humanity seeks peaceful coexistence with all galactic civilizations, but we will defend ourselves against any aggression. The choice of war or peace belongs to them. Similar scenes were playing out throughout both alien empires. Human strike teams appeared without warning, demonstrated overwhelming superiority, delivered their diplomatic packages, and withdrew before local forces could mount any effective response. It was a carefully orchestrated show of power designed to change galactic politics forever. Back on Earth, the original battle was winding down as both alien fleets realized the futility of continued resistance. The Shadow Fleet had demonstrated that they could destroy both fleets whenever they chose to do so. More importantly, the reports from their home systems made it clear that humanity could strike anywhere in the galaxy at will. Admiral Chen received a priority communication from President Martinez, who had been coordinating with world leaders throughout the crisis. The president's expression showed a mixture of amazement and relief as she spoke from the emergency bunker in Colorado. Admiral, I have just received acknowledgement from both alien fleet commanders. They are requesting immediate negotiations under the protection of neutral territories. Both governments are willing to recognize Earth as an independent power and discuss terms for peaceful coexistence. Chen nodded with satisfaction. The plan had worked exactly as designed. Humanity had not sought to destroy its potential enemies, but to force them to recognize human capability and negotiate from a position of strength. The galaxy would never again dismiss Earth as a primitive backwater. Madam President, inform both fleets that negotiations will begin immediately. However, the location will be Earth itself. If they wish to discuss terms, they will do so in our territory under our protection and according to our rules. The time when aliens dictated terms to humanity is over. Dr. Vasquez began the process of recalling Shadow Fleet units from their missions throughout the galaxy. The demonstration phase was complete, and it was time to begin the much more difficult task of building a new relationship with galactic civilization. Elena, what is our assessment of galactic reaction to the operation? Admiral Chen asked as she reviewed the flood of communications arriving from across known space. Mixed, but largely positive, Admiral. The smaller species are expressing relief that someone has finally challenged the dominance of the hegemony and Republic alliance. The larger powers are requesting meetings to discuss mutual defense treaties. Everyone wants to understand our technology and explore possibilities for cooperation. Captain Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the Defiance as his ship returned to Earth through the ancient relay network. Behind him, the industrial world of Corvin Prime continued its normal operations, its people now aware that humanity was a force to be respected rather than dismissed. The view of Earth growing larger in the ship's windows filled Marcus with emotions he had not felt for 3 years. Soon, he would be able to contact his family and explain everything. The lies, the deception, the sacrifice would finally have meaning as humanity took its place among the stars. But first, there was work to be done. The galaxy had accepted that humanity was a major power, but building the relationships needed for lasting peace would require all the skill and wisdom that human diplomats could provide. The easy part was over. Now came the hard part of living up to the reputation they had just created. 6 months after the Shadow Fleet's emergence, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the newly constructed Galactic Council chambers in Geneva, Switzerland. The building had been designed using a combination of human architecture and alien engineering, symbolizing the new era of cooperation that Earth had made possible. Representatives from 47 different species filled the Great Hall, their various forms of communication, creating a symphony of sounds that the new translation technology converted into perfect understanding for every participant. It was the largest gathering of galactic powers in recorded history, and it was taking place on Earth. Honored delegates, Admiral Chen began, her voice carrying clearly throughout the chamber, thanks to technology that had once been beyond human understanding. Today marks the official founding of the Terran Confederation and our formal entry into galactic civilization. But more importantly, it marks the beginning of a new age of cooperation and shared progress. The transformation had been remarkable. In just 6 months, humanity had gone from being dismissed as a primitive species to becoming the mediator in conflicts that had raged for centuries. The Shadow Fleet's demonstration of power had been followed by an equally impressive demonstration of wisdom and restraint. Captain Marcus Rodriguez sat in the observation gallery, watching the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. He wore the uniform of the Terran Confederation Navy, no longer needing to hide his true identity. Below him, his wife Maria served as one of Earth's diplomatic advisors, finally understanding why her husband had vanished for 3 years. The reunion had been difficult, but healing. Marcus had expected anger and resentment from his family, but instead found understanding and pride. His children were amazed to learn that their father had helped save not just Earth, but the entire galaxy from a war that could have lasted for generations. Dr. Elena Vasquez addressed the assembly from her position as Earth's Minister of Technological Exchange. Her presentation included holographic displays of the innovations that human-alien cooperation had already produced. Energy systems that could power entire worlds without environmental damage. Communication networks that allowed instant contact across galactic distances. Medical advances that could extend life and eliminate diseases that had plagued multiple species for millennia. The ancient precursor relay network that we have learned to operate is just the beginning, Dr. Vasquez explained to the fascinated audience. Our joint research teams have discovered that the network extends far beyond our current galactic borders. We may be able to make contact with civilizations in other galaxies, opening possibilities that our ancestors could never have imagined. The Hegemony and Republic Alliance had been the first to accept the new reality. Both empires had discovered that cooperation with Earth brought benefits far greater than anything they could gain through conquest. Human innovation, combined with alien knowledge and resources, was producing advances at an unprecedented rate. Commander Thex, formerly of the Hegemony Fleet, now served as a liaison officer in the Joint Exploration Program. His species' military expertise, combined with human strategic thinking, had already resulted in the peaceful resolution of 3 border conflicts that had previously seemed unsolvable. Admiral Chen, Ambassador Krell of the Zephyrian Federation, rose to address the assembly. On behalf of the smaller worlds that have often been caught between larger powers, I want to express our gratitude. Earth's emergence has created a balance that allows all voices to be heard in galactic affairs. This had been one of humanity's greatest diplomatic achievements. Instead of simply replacing the Hegemony and Republic Alliance as the dominant power, Earth had created a system where multiple civilizations could participate as equals. The Terran Confederation served as both protector and mediator, ensuring that smaller species were not overwhelmed by their larger neighbors. President Martinez, now serving as Earth's first galactic president, stepped forward to address the final item on the agenda. Today, we also announced the launch of the Great Exploration Initiative. Joint human-alien crews will use the Precursor Network to explore regions of space that no one has ever visited. Our goal is not conquest or resource extraction, but knowledge and the peaceful expansion of galactic civilization. The Great Exploration Initiative represented everything humanity had hoped to achieve. Mixed crews from dozens of species working together to push the boundaries of known space. Ships powered by hybrid technology that combined the best innovations from every participating civilization. A common goal that transcended the petty territorial disputes that had dominated galactic politics for centuries. Admiral Chen looked out at the assembly and thought about the long journey that had brought them to this moment. From the first crashed alien ship in Siberia to the emergence of the Shadow Fleet, humanity had spent a century preparing for this day. The sacrifices of countless individuals, the decades of secrecy and deception, had all led to this new beginning. Before we conclude today's session, Chen announced, I want to share a message from the families of those who served in the Shadow Fleet. For nearly a century, brave men and women gave up their identities, their connections to their loved ones, and sometimes their lives to prepare for humanity's emergence. Today, their sacrifice is finally acknowledged. A memorial wall appeared as a holographic display, showing the names and faces of everyone who had contributed to the Shadow Project. Scientists who had spent their careers studying alien technology in secret, engineers who had built ships that could never be officially recognized, soldiers who had died in training, accidents that the world believed were simply industrial mishaps. The assembly observed a moment of silence for those who had made the ultimate sacrifice for a goal they would never see achieved. Their legacy lived on in every human ship that traveled through the relay network, in every alliance formed between species that had once been enemies, in every peaceful solution to conflicts that might otherwise have led to war. As the formal session ended, delegates from different species mingled freely, discussing joint projects and shared goals. The sight would have been impossible just months earlier, when the galaxy had been divided into competing factions preparing for inevitable war. Captain Rodriguez joined Admiral Chen on the observation deck as the sun set over Lake Geneva. The water reflected the lights of the new orbital stations that had been built using joint human-alien technology. Ships from dozens of different worlds moved peacefully through Earth's sky, their crews working together on projects that benefited everyone. Admiral, do you think our ancestors ever imagined this when they first started the Shadow Project? Marcus asked as they watched a hegemony science vessel dock with a Republic Alliance exploration ship. Chen smiled, thinking of the old photographs she had seen of the first scientists studying alien artifacts in hidden laboratories. I think they hoped for something like this, Marcus, but I doubt they could have imagined how much better it would be than even their wildest dreams. Dr. Vasquez joined them, carrying a tablet that displayed the latest reports from exploration teams scattered across the galaxy. Admiral, we just received confirmation that the first joint colony ship has successfully established a settlement in the Andromeda Relay Network. Humans, Zephyrians, and Republic Alliance engineers working together to build humanity's first extragalactic outpost. The news represented more than just territorial expansion. It was proof that the cooperation forged in those desperate hours above Earth had grown into something permanent and meaningful. Species that had been enemies were now partners in the greatest adventure in galactic history. Admiral Chen looked up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Each point of light represented worlds that were now connected by the relay network, civilizations that were working together instead of fighting each other, and possibilities that had never existed before humanity emerged from its century of hidden preparation. You know, she said quietly, I think we can finally say that humanity has found its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as the species that helped everyone else find a better way forward. The galactic war that had erupted over Earth was remembered now not as a tragedy, but as the moment when galactic civilization finally grew beyond its ancient conflicts. Humanity's secret fleet had not just turned the tide of battle. It had turned the tide of history itself, creating a future where cooperation replaced conquest and exploration replaced exploitation. and in hidden facilities around the world. A new generation of human scientists and engineers continued the work their predecessors had started, preparing for challenges that had not yet been imagined and opportunities that lay waiting among distant stars. The age of human deception was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun. The ocean above Trident Deep Base exploded upward as massive doors, hidden for decades beneath sand and rock, finally opened. Captain Marcus Rodriguez felt the Defiance shake as millions of tons of water rushed around the ship's hull. Emergency. Lighting bathed the underwater harbor in red as humanity's most powerful warship began its ascent to the surface. "All stations report ready, Captain," announced Commander Park from her position at the tactical station. "Shields are at full power, weapons are charged, and navigation systems are locked onto our target coordinates. The hegemony fleet will not know what hit them." Admiral Chen stood in the command center of Luna Station, watching her displays with growing amazement. All around Earth, the ocean floors were opening like enormous flowers. Hidden doors in the lunar surface were sliding away to reveal vast underground hangars. Even the asteroid belt was revealing its secrets as chunks of rock split apart to show the warships hidden inside. The Shadow Fleet was emerging everywhere at once. 8,000 ships that had been invisible to every sensor, hidden by technology that made them appear to be part of the natural environment. The largest vessels were bigger than anything either alien fleet possessed, their hulls gleaming with materials that seemed to bend light around them. "Admiral, we are receiving communications from Shadow Fleet Command. All vessels report ready for Operation Emergence. Estimated time to full deployment is 18 minutes, reported Dr. Vasquez, her fingers flying across her tablet as she coordinated with teams around the world. Chen activated her fleet-wide communication system, knowing that this would be the most important message she would ever send. Thousands of brave men and women who had sacrificed everything for this moment were waiting for her words. Their families believed them dead, their friends had mourned them, but they had chosen duty over personal happiness. "All Shadow Fleet units, this is Admiral Chen. For nearly 100 years, humanity has prepared for this day. Our ancestors dreamed of the stars, but they also understood that the universe might not welcome us with open arms. Today we prove that their sacrifices were not in vain." Above, Earth's atmosphere, the battle between the Hegemony and Republic Alliance had reached a new level of violence. Both fleets were fully committed to destroying each other, their massive ships exchanging devastating volleys that lit up space like a deadly fireworks display. Neither side noticed the strange readings beginning to appear on their sensors. Commander Thex of the Hegemony, Dreadnought Dominator, was the first to see something impossible. His tactical officer reported energy signatures emerging from Earth's surface, but the readings made no sense. The primitive humans were not supposed to have technology that could produce such power levels. "Sir, I am detecting massive energy signatures rising from the planet below," reported his sensor operator, her voice uncertain. "The readings suggest vessels of unknown configuration, but that is impossible. Our intelligence reports indicate the humans have no capability for such technology." Commander Thex turned to study the tactical display, his four eyes widening in disbelief. Hundreds of contacts were appearing on his screens, rising from locations all over the planet. Ships that his sensors insisted were larger and more powerful than anything in his own fleet. "Contact the Republic Alliance fleet immediately," Thex ordered. "Request immediate ceasefire. We have a much larger problem than our territorial dispute." Captain Marcus Rodriguez felt the Defiance break through Earth's atmosphere, the sensation familiar after years of training in hidden simulators. Space opened before him, revealing the full scope of the alien battle. Hundreds of ships locked in deadly combat, their weapons creating brilliant flashes of light against the darkness. But Marcus was not impressed by the alien display of power. The Shadow Fleet had studied both the Hegemony and Republic Alliance for decades. They knew the capabilities of every ship class, understood the limitations of their weapons, and had designed countermeasures for their most advanced tactics. "Target the nearest Hegemony cruiser," Marcus ordered. "Full power to forward weapons. Let us show them what human engineering can accomplish when we stop pretending to be weak." The Defiance's main weapon fired, sending a beam of concentrated energy across space in less than a second. The alien cruiser's shields, which had been successfully deflecting Republic Alliance weapons for hours, collapsed instantly. The ship's hull, made from materials supposedly stronger than anything humans could produce, melted like ice under a blowtorch. All around Earth, similar scenes played out as the Shadow Fleet engaged both alien forces simultaneously. Human ships that had appeared from nowhere were tearing through alien defenses with weapons that defied every known law of physics. Shields, that had protected alien vessels for centuries, were useless against technology that could adjust its frequency in real time. Admiral Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Every engagement was proceeding exactly as the simulations had predicted. The Shadow Fleet's hybrid technology was proving superior to both alien fleets, just as Dr. Vasquez's team had calculated it would be. But Chen was not content with simply defending Earth. The alien fleets had made a crucial mistake by bringing their entire strength to this battle. They had no reserves, no backup plans, and no understanding of what they were truly facing. This was humanity's chance to end the threat permanently. Dr. Vasquez, activate the hyperspace relay network. All Shadow Fleet units are to prepare for long-range deployment. We are taking this fight to their home systems. Elena's fingers danced across her control interface, activating systems that had been built into Earth's ocean floor millions of years ago. The ancient relay network came alive, creating invisible corridors through space that would allow human ships to travel faster than any known technology. Network activation successful, Admiral. All relay points are operational and ready for fleet deployment. We can strike at both alien home systems simultaneously while maintaining our defensive positions around Earth. The Hegemony and Republic Alliance commanders finally began to understand the scope of their mistake. The humans they had dismissed as primitive were using technology that surpassed their own by decades. Worse, the human ships were appearing not just around Earth, but throughout both alien territories. Commander Thex received an emergency communication from his home fleet. Human ships had somehow appeared in the Hegemony capital system, thousands of light years away. They were attacking military installations with precision and power that left the alien defenders helpless. How is this possible? Thex demanded of his science officer. Our intelligence report said the humans barely had interplanetary travel capability. They are not supposed to understand hyperspace technology, let alone possess it. The science officer studied his readings with growing horror. Sir, the energy signatures suggest they are using technology similar to the ancient relay systems mentioned in the old legends. But those systems were built by the precursors millions of years ago. No modern species has ever learned to operate them. Captain Rodriguez guided the Defiance through the alien battle formations, his ship's superior maneuverability allowing him to strike at will. Each shot from his weapons disabled or destroyed ships that had taken years to build. The aliens were learning that technological superiority meant nothing when facing opponents who understood your weaknesses better than you did. Captain, we are receiving surrender requests from both alien fleets, reported Lieutenant Kim from the communications station. They are requesting immediate ceasefire and asking for terms. Marcus smiled grimly. The aliens had expected to fight each other over the right to control Earth. Instead, they found themselves at the mercy of the species they had planned to conquer or protect. Humanity had turned their arrogance against them in the most decisive way possible. Inform both fleets that all terms will be negotiated through Admiral Chen. Any ship that attempts to leave the system without permission will be destroyed. Humanity is no longer asking for recognition. We are demanding it. The battle that had begun as a conflict between two alien empires was ending as humanity's announcement to the galaxy. Earth was not a prize to be won or a species to be protected. It was the homeworld of a civilization that had spent a century preparing to reshape the balance of power among the stars. The age of human deception was over. The age of human dominance had begun.